K plus 2? Sharp thinking. K2 is the right choice.
Sa plus 2. Well reasoned. Sao is the correct choice. Name Bixi. Bravo. Boron trichloride is the answer. Haka. Strong choice. Acetic acid is the right answer. Na plus an S2. You chose loss, and it is correct. Mago represents. Perfect. Magnesium oxide is the correct choice. CP stands for solid response. Standard temperature and pressure is a valid choice. Copper oxide.
Well picked. Quo is the correct answer.
Hydrobromic acid. On track. Abir is the correct answer. Particles include. Exactly. Molecules and atoms make sense, and it is right choice. Covalent compound. Excellent choice. Share electrons is the right answer. Calcium phosphate. Smart pick. Kaya is the correct choice. Ratio of O to Sa. You got it? Your choice 6-2 is right. Ammonium chloride. Good thinking. LeNH4Cl is the right answer. Magnesium fluoride. Right again. 62.3 is a valid answer. Bases have a flav. Nicely done. More than 7 is a solid answer. N equal to number of moles. Correct response. 1 and 2 is the most accurate answer. Name the acid H3 pure. Well done. Phosphoric acid is the right choice. Copper sulfide. Smart move. 95.7 is an accurate answer. Magnesium cyanide.
Valid point. G plus 2 is true.
Charge of lithium ion. Right choice. +1 is the best answer. Name the compound CaF2. Nice selection. Calcium fluoride is the correct and valid answer. Magnesium pentahydrate. Correct. Mca 3520 is the right answer. Phosphorus trichloride.
Great job. With goods is the accurate answer.
Dried or without water. Nice work. You chose anhydrating anhydride, and it is correct. What is the name of Co?
Clear logic. Your choice carbon monoxide is sound and 100% true.
Li plus and P3 create dash. Good job. Your answer game works well here. The molar mass of 2 is. Excellent. 32 g-mol is a brilliant choice. G2 plus and Kil create dash.
You're right. Mugsal 2 is the correct answer.
What is a neutral? E.
Great thinking. 7 is the right choice.
A mole is a unit of dash. Correct response. Quantity is the most accurate answer. Silver nitrate is written. Good thinking. The most effective is the right answer. What does the W stand for? Well done. Unknown is the right choice. An equation is balanced by.
Good job. Your answer adding coefficients works well here.
Whose face is on the dime? Bravo. Roosevelt is the answer. Molar mass is used to dash. Correct. Convert grams to moles is the right answer. How many neutrons in C14? Right again. 8 is a valid answer.
Molar mass of now is dash.
Smart pick. 40 grams mole is the correct choice. What is the name for SiC4? On track. Silicon tetrachloride is the correct answer. What is the name of Brasif-10?
Right choice. None of the above is the best answer.
Which has more surface area?
Smart move. Powdered sugar is an accurate answer.
Molarity is measured in dash.
Valid point. Moles per L is true.
A solution is a kind of dash.
Nicely done. Mixture is a solid answer.
NH3 has how many lone pairs? Exactly. 1 makes sense and it is right choice. Round that 09 to 3 sig figs?
Sharp thinking. Fun 10 is the right choice.
Ions in 2 compounds switch.
Strong choice. Double replacement is the right answer.
What is standard temperature?
Clear logic. Your choice OS is sound and 100% true.
A electron has a dash charge.
You chose negative, and it is correct. What is the name of dash natus?
Well picked. Sodium sulfide is the correct answer.
Forms hydroxide enes in water. You're right. Bases is the correct answer.
Name the ionic compound Sense2. Excellent. Tin selenide is a brilliant choice. Find the formula zinc sulfate.
Great job. Zinc-4 is the accurate answer.
Chi3Po4 is an example of a dash.
Great thinking. Acid is the right choice.
Theoretical yield is found by.
Solid response. Stoichiometry calculations is a valid choice.
Valence electrons are the dash.
You got it? Your choice outermost electrons is right.
Molar mass is in units of dash.
Excellent choice. G-mol is the right answer.
How many moles are 60 of Kutu?
Nice work. You chose 1.36 mol and it is correct.
The equation for percent yield.
Nice selection. X100 is the correct and valid answer. 1 mol of Natuka-3 has a mass of.
Perfect. 105.99G is the correct choice.
To convert mel to L, one should.
Well reasoned. Divide by 1000 is the correct choice.
Name the following compound N2. Great thinking. Dinitrogen monoxide is the right choice.
6L4 has how many double bonds?
Good thinking. Zo is the right answer. Formula mass can also be called. Correct. Molar mass is the right answer.
Find the molar mass of Ga23.
Nicely done. 380 g-mol is a solid answer. Stp is equal to the following. Excellent choice. 273 K1 atom is the right answer.
What is the molar mass of PePSA4?
You chose 30327 g-mol and it is correct.
How many moles are in 1982G?
Perfect. 0.82 mol Mg is the correct choice. Manganese nitrate is written.
Right again. Of A is a valid answer. The formula Hu2 is an example of. Nice work. You chose a molecular formula, and it is correct. Dash stops the chemical reaction. Smart move. Limiting reactant is an accurate answer. Name the given compound Fe23. Smart pick. Iron carbonate is the correct choice. How do I move from grams to moles? On track. Divide by molar mass is the correct answer. What are the units for molar mass? Sharp thinking. Grams mole is the right choice. What is the molar mass of C6-TOOX6? Well, at 1 in 80.50 is true. Which one is an empirical formula? Bravo, CAC2 is the answer. Can be found on the periodic table. Correct response. Element is the most accurate answer. Stoichiometry is used to calculate. Great job. Theoretical yield is the accurate answer. How many oxygen atoms are in a 3x4? You're right. 4 is the correct answer. Calculate the molar mass of CaCO3. You got it. Your choice 100.09 mol is right. What is the proper name for CaC2? Nice selection. Calcium chloride is the correct and valid answer. What is the mass of 3-preodern mol Cal2? Well done. 330G is the right choice. Moles of tow would have what mass? Strong choice. 72G is the right answer. How many H atoms are in 3Po4? Well reasoned. 12 is the correct choice. How do you go from moles to grams? Excellent. Multiply by molar mass is a brilliant choice. What percent of Zen32 is zinc? Right choice. 50.81% is the best answer. The formula for iron oxide is. Well picked. Pop is the correct answer. How many moles of oxygen were used? Good job. Your answer 500 moles works well here. What is the mass of 4.5 mole of Co? Exactly, 252 makes sense and it is right choice. How to calculate molar mass of 2? Solid response. 2 plus 16 equal to 18 is a valid choice. What is the molar mass of hydrogen? Clear logic. Your choice 1.08G is sound and 100% true. How many moles are in 1.24 of Ch4? Well reasoned. U.1 mole is the correct choice. One reactant into several products. Well picked. Decomposition is the correct answer. How many sig figs are there? 100 dough. You got it? Your choice 5 is right. How many moles are in 15.0 of Ash3? Perfect. 0.1 mole is the correct choice. What is the other name for the mole? Solid response. Avogadro's number is a valid choice. Calculate the molar mass for all three. Bravo. 70 mol is the answer. Dash is measured by the unit joules. On track. Heat energy is the correct answer. Calculate the moles in 12.7 of CaF2. Strong choice. 0.6 mol is the right answer. The abbreviation SEEP stands for dash. Smart pick.
Standard temperature pressure is the correct choice.
What is the formula for nitric acid?
Right choice. OK is the best answer.
What is the molar mass of 2-Cotha?
Right again, 96.11g is a valid answer.
HexCl is the chemical formula for dash.
Great thinking. Hydrochloric acid is the right choice.
How many grams is 2 moles of helium?
Great job, 8,000 is the accurate answer.
How many G are in 56 L of O2 at STP?
Excellent. 80 is a brilliant choice.
Round 5 or 9, 96 to 4 significant figures.
You're right, 510 though is the correct answer.
What group number are the noble gases? Nice work. You chose 18, and it is correct.
What do we call the mass of 1 mole?
Good job. Your answer, molar mass, works well here.
Name the group that has a single bond.
Valid point. Alkanes is true. What is the molar mass of Zine-2?
Nicely done. 183.5 mole is a solid answer.
What is the name of the compound 2,5?
You chose diphosphorus pentoxide. And it is correct. Find the percent composition of Entus-2. Clear logic. Your choice N. 30.4%, S. 69.6% is sound and 100% true.
How do I change from moles to liters? Excellent choice. Multiply by 20.4 is the right answer.
How many grams of water are produced?
Well done. 180.0 is the right choice. What is the molar mass of chalk? Cacoth.
Sharp thinking. 100 gizmol is the right choice.
The first step in stoichiometry is 2.
Correct. Determine a balanced equation is the right answer.
How many grams of 2 are in 3 moles?
Exactly. 54G makes sense and it is right choice. Calculate the formula mass for Cis2SO4.
Good thinking. 361.9 is the right answer.
What is the mass of 15 moles of water? Nice selection. 270G is the correct and valid answer.
How many valence electrons in group I?
Correct response. 1 is the most accurate answer.
The amount of matter in an object.
Smart move. Mass is an accurate answer.
How many moles are in 1694G of water?
0.941 times τ is true.
Celsius is?
Great job. OK is the accurate answer.
Theoretical yield is determined by the...
Well done. Limiting reactant is the right choice. What is the correct name for all 3? On track. Aluminum nitrate is the correct answer.
Mole ratios are obtained from the dash.
You got it. Your choice balanced chemical equation is right.
Which is an example of a diatomic atom?
Exactly. O2 makes sense and it is right choice.
What is the mass of 7.80 moles of NaCl?
Correct response. 455Z is the most accurate answer.
How many atoms are there total in H2SOR?
Well reasoned. 7 is the correct choice.
What is the empirical formula for C6?
Good thinking. Sha is the right answer.
Identify the empirical formula for C2F4.
Right choice. H2 is the best answer.
A mass of 46 g of sodium contains about. Perfect. 2 mole of Na is the correct choice.
What is changed to balance an equation?
You chose coefficient, and it is correct.
What is the answer to 2b on the review?
Good job. Your answer 18 works well here.
Round 289 to 3 significant figures.
1.9x 103 is the answer. How many grams are in 0.4 moles of 2s? Strong choice. 13.6 is the right answer.
What is the empirical formula of K2SO4? Well picked. K2SO4 is the correct answer. What is an example of a chemical change?
Solid response. All of the above is a valid choice. Chemical formula of calcium hydroxide is.
Great thinking. Say A2 is the right choice.
Anything that has mass n takes up space.
Nice selection. Matter is the correct and valid answer. The number of moles of 50Ds kakathe.
Sharp thinking.
0.5 is the right choice. At STP, what is pressure in atmospheres? Nice work. You chose 1 at TM, and it is correct.
How many hydrogen atoms are in NH3O5?
Nicely done. 3 is a solid answer. A piece of paper contains dash of atoms. Clear logic. Your choice millions is sound and 100% true.
What is the charge on the hydroxide ion? Excellent choice. 1 is the right answer.
What is the molar mass of methane?
You're right. 16.05 g-mol is the correct answer.
How many moles are in 35.6 g of lithium?
Correct. 5.3 mol is the right answer.
Carbon and oxygen will make a dash bond.
Smart move. Covalent is an accurate answer.
Which is the smallest number show below? Smart pick. Thinks 10.6 the correct choice. What is the name of this chemical? Ectoso4. Right again. Sulfuric acid is a valid answer. What is the mass of 6.25 mol of 2? Excellent. Levinson 5G is a brilliant choice. The molar mass of hydrogen peroxide K2.
Correct response. 34 g-mol is the most accurate answer.
What you are solving for always goes dash?
Clear logic. Your choice on top is sound and 100% true. What unit is most commonly used for mass? Solid response. Grams is a valid choice. Round to 2 significant figures 125.01.
Excellent. 130,000 is a brilliant choice.
What does the number 4 represent in 4-3?
Strong choice. Coefficient is the right answer.
How many oxygen atoms are in CO2? Right choice. 8 is the best answer.
Energy of motion is which type of energy?
Nice work. You chose kinetic, and it is correct.
Solve and round accordingly. 10 x 5540 equal to.
Smart pick. 6 is the correct choice.
How many moles are in 199 grams of Sickle-4? You chose 129 mole, and it is correct. Grams to grams is a how many step problem?
Smart move.
4 is an accurate answer. Find the grams of 0.75 moles of 3-por. Nice selection. 111.75 is the correct and valid answer. What is the mass of 1 mole of Al-23? Exactly, 342.1 g makes sense and it is right choice.
What is an example of endothermic process?
Well reasoned. Chemical ice pack is the correct choice.
Which pair has the same empirical formula?
Good job. Your answer CO42 and 6-206 works well here. What is the formula for aluminum fluoride?
Nicely done. The effect is a solid answer.
3 subatomic particles that make up an atom. You're right. Proton. Neutron, electron is the correct answer. Give the formula for phosphorus trifluoride. Good thinking. In the end is the right answer.
How many moles are in 9.8 grams of calcium?
Great thinking. 0.2 moles is the right choice.
How many grams are in 238 moles of arsenic?
Perfect. 17,850 is the correct choice.
What is the oxidation number of N in No21? Well done. +3 is the right choice.
Write the formula for copper phosphide.
Correct. Heel is the right answer. Round 76, 2004 to 8 significant figures. Great job. 72566 is the accurate answer.
How many moles are in 20 g of potassium?
Right again. 0.51 mole is a valid answer. What is the relative molecular mass of Cu? Excellent choice. 44 is the right answer. What is the molar mass of sodium carbonate? Bravo, 199 mole is the answer.
What is the gram formula mass of K32?
On track, 310 mole is the correct answer.
Moles of carbon is equal to how many grams?
You got it. Your choice 6.0 is right.
What is the molar mass of ammonium sulfate?
132.1 mole is true.
What is the charge of zinc in zinc sulfate? Well picked. 2+ is the correct answer. How many different elements are in C6H12O6? Sharp thinking. 3 is the right choice. We use the periodic table to calculate dash. Strong choice. Molar mass is the right answer. What is an important part of stoichiometry? Good job. Your answer balancing equations works well here. What is the abbreviation unit for molecule?
You chose molic, and it is correct.
The mass of 1.0 mole of lithium hydroxide is. Correct response. 24 g is the most accurate answer. What is the mass of 0.75 moles of 3-por? 111.75 g is the correct choice.
How many atoms of carbon are in C6H12O6?
You got it? Your choice 6 is right.
What is the mass in grams of 590 mol C18?
Nice work. You chose 673 g and it is correct. Percent yield can never be greater than dash. You're right. Both A and B is the correct answer. What is the unit of relative molecular mass? Well reasoned. No units is the correct choice. Convert to scientific notation 520,000 Zalosen.
Right choice. 5.2x18 is the best answer.
the volume occupied by 28 gram of N2 at STP. Solid response. 22.4 tiers is a valid choice.
There are dash orbitals in the second shell.
Smart move. 4 is an accurate answer. The required energy to make a reaction start. Valid point. Activation energy is true.
How many moles of nitrogen gas were produced?
Bravo, 0.637 moles.
What is the mass of 4 moles of ammonia?
68 times Cg is the accurate answer. What is the name of this polyatomic ion? No.
Great thinking. Nitrite is the right choice.
What is the expected value for percent yield? Nicely done. Jo 100 is a solid answer.
What will be the chemical formula for K and N?
Excellent. Khan is a brilliant choice.
How many steps is a molar to GB calculation?
Right again. 2 is a valid answer. The following will replace Zen in Zinsa 4 except.
Clear logic. Your choice nickel is sound and 100% true.
The subatomic particles found in the nucleus.
Correct, proton. Neutron is the right answer.
In what part of an atom can protons be found? Perfect. Inside the atomic nucleus is the correct choice.
A covalent bond involves a dash of electrons.
Exactly. Sharing makes sense, and it is right choice. How do you write 1tan01 in scientific notation?
On track. 1.01x103 is the correct answer.
What charge does the polyatomic ion No3 have?
Well done. 1 is the right choice.
Which gas occupies the highest volume at STP?
Well picked. 2 mol of H2 is the correct answer.
Dash is the smallest molar consumption value. Nice selection. Limiting reactant is the correct and valid answer.
How many valence electrons does nitrogen have?
Excellent choice. 5 is the right answer. Which of the following is a covalent compound? Sharp thinking. CH4 is the right choice.
Calculate the molar mass of calcium hydroxide.
Good thinking. 74.11 gmol is the right answer.
What is the gram formula mass of CuSO4?
Bravo. 250 is the answer.
A reaction that always results in CO2 and N2O.
Nice work. You chose combustion, and it is correct.
The starting materials in a chemical equation.
Perfect. Reactants is the correct choice.
What indicator is commonly used in titrations?
Well picked. Phenolphthalein is the correct answer.
How many moles of No3 are in 155 grams of No3?
Nicely done. AK mol type is a solid answer.
How many liters are in 1 mole of a gas at STP?
Good job. Your answer 22.4 works well here. Moles of compound A to moles of compound B is?
Excellent choice. Mole ratio is the right answer.
How many Al atoms are in this compound? 423.
Exactly. 8 makes sense, and it is right choice.
Solve and round accordingly. 15 dollars 150.5 equal to.
Nice selection. 1 or 2 is the correct and valid answer.
A solution that can hold more solute is called
Correct response. Unsaturated is the most accurate answer.
What is the approximate molar mass of K2? On track. 164 g/mol is the correct answer. What is the molar mass of cadmium?
You're right. 1 mole is the correct answer.
Chemical formula used for aluminium sulfate is...
You got it? Your choice, Alsu, is right.
How many moles of Al were used in the reaction? Excellent. 133 moles is a brilliant choice.
What is the correct name of the compound K2?
Smart pick. Calcium chloride is the correct choice.
How many moles are in 5.0 of our gas?
Correct. So 0.23 mol is the right answer.
The amount that the limiting reactant produces. Right again. Theoretical yield is a valid answer.
What is the formula for diphosphorus pentoxide?
Great thinking. Book is the right choice.
What is the symbol of the relative atomic mass?
Good thinking. R is the right answer.
Which represents the greatest mass of chlorine?
Solid response. 1 mole of chlorine is a valid choice.
How many atoms are in 25.8 grams Gi?
Valid point. 7 points for oxygen 22 atoms is true. Greenhouse gases are molecules that dash heat.
Great job. Reflect or trap is the accurate answer.
1 mole of gas at T_p takes up how much volume? Well reasoned. 22.4 liters is the correct choice.
Molecular weight is the same from atomic weight.
Right choice. True is the best answer.
Mass is an example of which property of matter?
Strong choice. Extensive is the right answer.
What is the molecular mass of fluorine gas 2? Smart move. 38 is an accurate answer.
How many grams is 3.8 moles of carbon monoxide?
Clear logic. Your choice 10643 Ag is sound and 100% true.
What is the correct formula for carbon dioxide?
Well done. Il is the right choice. How many moles are in 64 grams of methane? You chose 2 moles and it is correct.
How many grams of oxygen are in 97.0 G of H2?
Sharp thinking. 67.5 is the right choice. What formula results when Ca+2 and Brer ions bond?
You chose Cabra2 and it is correct.
What shows how many atoms are within a compound? Nicely done. Subscripts is a solid answer. What is the molar mass of 1 mole of iron?
Well picked. 55.93 G is the correct answer.
What is the oxidation number of sulfur in CuSO4?
Clear logic. Your choice 6 is sound and 100% true.
What is the relative formula mass? Mift of Kaka.
Excellent. 100 is a brilliant choice.
What is the molar mass of sulfuric acid? Excellent choice. 98.79 is the right answer. When particles collide with each other, they dash.
Solid response. Transfer kinetic energy is a valid choice.
What is N defined as in the Bohr's atomic model? Well reasoned. Principal quantum number is the correct choice. What is the percent by mass of chlorine in NaCl?
Right choice? 60% is the best answer.
A compound with oxidation number of oxygen is +2. Right again. Ill is a valid answer.
Identify the products of the following. Ag plus NO3.
Correct. No reaction is the right answer. The number in front of a compound or element is a correct response. Coefficient is the most accurate answer.
What is the molar mass of sodium chloride?
Smart move. 58 G is an accurate answer.
What is the molar mass of nitrogen in grams?
Smart pick. 28 g/mol is the correct choice.
What is used up in and stops a chemical reaction?
Nice selection. Limiting reactant is the correct and valid answer.
What is the volume of 14 Gs of nitrogen gas at Sp? You got it? Your choice 11 is right. How many grams are in 1 mole of oxygen gas?
Nice work. You chose 32 g/mol and it is correct.
What is the percentage of iron in iron oxide?
Sharp thinking. 70% is the right choice.
How many Fig are in the number below 160?
Great thinking. 5 is the right choice.
How many grams are in 9.4x10^25 molecules of H2?
Valid point. 3VPD is true.
How many atoms are there in 0.075 mol of titanium?
Great. 4.5x10^22 atoms is the accurate answer.
If phenolphthalein turns bright pink, it indicates
On track. A base is the correct answer.
the formula of sodium carbonate is
Well done. We eat is the right choice.
the actual yield of an experiment is found through
Bravo. The experimental value is the answer.
how many grams are in 5.6 moles of sodium bromide?
Good thinking. 576 G is the right answer. Which one of the following have the greatest mass?
Strong choice. 1 mole gold is the right answer.
Calculate the mass of 0.1 mole of sodium carbonate.
Exactly. 10 Chagra makes sense and it is right choice.
How many moles of H2 are produced 10 moles of Cal? You're right. 5 is the correct answer.
Dash represents the number of atoms in a substance.
Good job. Your answer subscript works well here.
How many steps does a grams to grams problem have? Perfect. 3 is the correct choice.
What is the mass of 2.6 mole lithium bromide?
Nice selection. 206.2 caliber is the correct and valid answer.
Which homologous series contains a C=Toc double bond?
Well picked. Alkenes is the correct answer.
What is the relative atomic mass of calcium? Equal to 40.
Well done. 40 is the right choice.
How many electrons can the first energy level hold?
Correct response. 2 is the most accurate answer.
What is the molar mass of the baking soda?
On track. A4G is the correct answer.
What is the chemical formula of magnesium chloride?
Strong choice. Magaltu is the right answer.
What is the number of valence electrons for oxygen?
Smart pick. 6 is the correct choice.
Find the percentage composition of Mg in Ng32.
Sharp thinking. 27.48% Mg is the right choice.
What is the relative atomic mass of nitrogen? Equal to 14.
Well reasoned. 14 is the correct choice.
The volume occupied by 3 moles of N2 at steep is dash.
Excellent. 67.2 L is a brilliant choice.
Find the percent composition of hydrogen in 2s. Nicely done. 11.8% is a solid answer.
Stoichiometry is based on the law of conservation of.
Correct. Mass is the right answer. How many moles of carbon would be in 3 moles of CH4?
Right choice. 3 is the best answer.
At Stp 32.0 g of O2 would occupy the same volume as.
You chose 4.0 g of He, and it is correct.
In your ABC for stoichiometry, the B stands for dash.
Valid point. Balanced equation is true.
What is the percent composition of magnesium in MyGo?
Good job. Your answer 60% works well here.
How many moles of Sf6 are found with 134.4 of Sf6?
Bravo. 6 moles. 6 is the answer. What is the correct formula for magnesium hydroxide?
Great job. Mg2 is the accurate answer.
Another name for an oxidation reduction reaction is.
You're right. Redox reaction is the correct answer. Heating up 2 reactants will make the reaction dash.
You got it. Your choice, go faster, is right.
The molar mass of potassium perchlorate is grams. Exactly. A 138.47 makes sense, and it is right choice.
The calculations of quantities in a chemical reaction.
Smart move. Stoichiometry is an accurate answer.
What are the products of an acid-base neutralization?
Clear logic. Your choice is 2N salt is sound and 100% true.
The formula of copper oxide is where oxide O equal to 2.
Great thinking. Clue is the right choice. What is the mass of 8 moles of magnesium? Mg equal to D431 mu.
Solid response 194. Byte is a valid choice.
Mole ratios for a reaction are obtained from the dash.
Excellent choice. Balanced chemical equation is the right answer.
Which type of bond has an equal sharing of electrons?
Good thinking. Non-polar covalent is the right answer.
The gram formula mass of NO2 is defined as the mass of.
Nice work. You chose 1 mole of NO2 and it is correct. Matter cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be perfect. Transformed, changed is the correct choice.
How many steps is grams to moles of the same compound? Right again? 1 is a valid answer.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format.
You chose contact Narayan Changda. And it is correct.